good morning, everyone. I don't know that these are on. Well, good morning, everyone. Look at what a difference that makes. My name is Karen Blakely. If you haven't met me before, I'm going to be our host today. And I just want to say, whether you are here in the sanctuary or you are joining us online, welcome home. We are so glad that you are here. And since we are celebrating Memorial Day, I also wanted to just express gratitude for all of those who have served in the armed forces and worked to keep America free. We honor you this day. We also like to always acknowledge the native lands that we are on here in Eureka. And so I would like to invite Reverend Angelica up. I know usually Donna speaks a prayer, but she's not here this morning, so we'll hear from Reverend Angelica.
I am not even going to try to do Donna's prayer. However, we do acknowledge the lands that the center is built on. But I wanted to share something with you that I just found out the other day. And we were talking about doing the land acknowledgement once a month instead of every Sunday. And one of the things that came up was that originally, I had found out that this was something that a lot of people were doing, the land acknowledgement, and it just sounded so right to me that I asked Donna if she would find out about it, and do it for us. And it took her a while, and I kept asking her, well, did you find out anything about the land acknowledgement, how we're supposed to do that? I'm going to do it. She was talking to her tribal elders about it. Well, one of the things that happened when she finally got to really talk to her tribal elder about it was that he not only shared with her the story that she tells us on Sunday mornings, but he gave her a prayer to say. The prayer that she shares with us, her tribal elder gave her to use here. And he got it from his tribal elder. Now, I don't know if that means anything to you, but I'm from the Hawaiian tradition. And in Hawaii, a few times over the 8 years, I've shared with you a chant that my kumu gave me. And it was to be used in the church in Hawaii. And when I just in casual conversation said, well, I'm going to use it in the church, I think I was in Baltimore at the time. In the Baltimore church, she says, she bristled. I was like, is that wrong? She said, I gave you that. Her mother had given it to her to give to us, the Hawaii church, and it was to be used there, and only there, unless we asked permission. So there is a certain protocol that has to be followed, which I understood when Donna told us that she had gotten it from her tribal elder, etc. So again, I'm not going to try to do it, but we do acknowledge this land that we're on, and the next time you hear it, it's going to mean a lot more to you because it has been passed down for us to use, for us to have on Sundays. So, thank you. I'll turn it back over to Karen.
Thank you so much. All right. And so we want to go ahead and say our opening affirmation. We're going to say the first part together, and then if you will turn to someone near you for that last line, I honor the path that brought you here this morning. And so let us begin. We are a welcoming community where the vibration of love lifts us, the wisdom of the ages inspires us, and the science of mind teaching empowers us. I honor the path that brought you here today. All right, and speaking of the path that brought all of us here, here are our announcements for the week. This is our weekly schedule. You'll find all of the details and registration links on our website. You may have noticed our social hall is slowly being transformed into the Twice Nice and plant cell that is quickly arriving. And Burl, I think you said you wanted to announce something around the Twice Nice sale. I'll let you go ahead and come up. Come on up.
Yeah, I usually do the jewelry exhibit every year. Sorting through what's come in so far, and it's really not really good. I was hoping maybe you guys could look through your jewelry boxes and see if there isn't something you can let go of or share. Okay, we'll be here most of the week setting up, so just what are the hours between 10 and 2 mostly, except for Monday. Okay, anyway.
And we are meeting tomorrow, even though it's a holiday, and Burl and I and Carol are bringing some holiday lunch for anybody who comes to volunteer tomorrow.
Now, if that doesn't lure you, I don't know what will. Oh, money.
Are you pricing jewelry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it'll be Ross Angelica running things.
And for those of you online who may not have heard that, Reverend Angelica said we will be here tomorrow from 10 till 3, and there'll be some holiday yummies and goodies if you come to volunteer as well. All right, just to kind of recap, the Twice Nice sale is officially Friday and Saturday night. And so, or day, I'm thinking of night because I'm singing in the symphony those evenings, so I'm kind of blending the two of them in my head. So yeah, you can come to the Twice Nice sale and then come hear the symphony play, and I'll be singing in it in the evening if you'd like. Next is Soar at Asilomar, and if you have never been to Asilomar, this is a beautiful place. It is a place where our founder, Ernest Holmes, spoke a lot. It's, if you've heard of the Sermon by the Sea, this is where he gave that talk. It's just a special place that is steeped in a lot of tradition for our communities of Centers for Spiritual Living. And it's also really super fun to be in a group of all CSL people for that long. It's just a great experience with some wonderful workshops. You will not be disappointed if you come and join us there. Also, our bookstore gently used books are $1 off. So please peruse that and see if there is anything that you cannot live without. I know there's always books I can't live without. There's too many of them. Next is our little pantry. We're still collecting for that. This seems to be one of the biggest ways that we're supporting our community on a regular basis. Specifically, we're looking for baby food, pop-top cans, and shelf-stable milks and juices. So you think of things that are small portions that somebody who may be unhoused can utilize without needing to have a can opener or a stove or something to cook them on. That's probably our best bet. This is our last week of our monthly theme of the merry month of May. So hopefully that jingle will fall out of my head after this. And I'll turn the time over to Edward and Jackson now for our contemplative. Oh, we got one more announcement? Sure, come on up.
Nothing to do with church. But this afternoon in Trinidad, I know at 2 o'clock they're starting some kind of memorial ceremony, but the McKinleyville Community Choir, which I am in, and I am the MC, we will be at the town hall at 4 o'clock having a concert. We'll be singing. So
When
if
are you in Eureka or Arcata?
we couldn't find a venue in those in Eureka, but in Arcata we will be at the Arcata Presbyterian Church on G Street. It will be Thursday evening, the 8th, not this coming, but the one after, and then we will be doing Azalea Hall. And it's at 7 o'clock. Then we will be doing Azalea Hall on June 11th at 3 o'clock. So we do basically three concerts. So any one of those, come join us. It's great. We have big mix of music, and we have a lot of fun. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. All right. Edward, are you ready? I guess so. He's as ready as he's going to be. Oh.
Thank you, boss. I guess I need to start reading my emails. I wasn't aware that I was doing this, but it's great. Yeah, all's good. Thank you, Spirit. Since I didn't bring a reading, I will speak from the heart. And there is something that I guess has been touching me for the last couple of days. My wife and I, we drive along sometimes and we talk about a lot of stuff. And I was thinking to myself, how awful is it that we forget how to play as we get older? We've seen children, they don't know each other. They'll see each other in the mall or on the street or whatever, give each other the once-over, and next thing you know it, they're running and they're playing together, having a good time, And there's no thought in their mind, like this person is too tall or too fat or too skinny or the wrong race or whatever. All they see is another kid. And, as we get more socialized, we lose that part of ourselves. We become a little bit more cynical, a little bit more judgmental. We can't really blame our parents for it because the same thing happened to them and to their parents and what have you. But how nice it would be if we learned how to do that again, how to play, how to be youthful, how to be kids, in our adult life. How nice would the world be? And I remember reading something a while back, excuse my voice, it's in and out. I remember reading something a while back that said, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And it only takes one person. And that one person, like that grain of sand on the beach that Reverend Angelica talked about several times, can change the whole landscape. You move that grain of sand, that beach will never be the same. It'll never match up to what it was before you move that grain. Same thing with us. We're that grain of sand. So it is. Oh, I did want to add, one thing I love about this community is that we are that grain of sand. We do this. This is from our heart. We know that we're spirit. We know that spirit is connected. We know that it's all one. And I love that about us. And at this point, really, and so it is.
One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one people, living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all
The words of the old gospel hymn says, "How great thou art." I say how great we are, because we are one with the energy that is God. We are one with that great loving force. We are part of that great loving force. Like the waves of an ocean, we are connected. We are one. We share our message. We share our love with the world. Like children, we learn to play again. We learn to run. We learn to hide. We learn to laugh. We know that hatred has no place in this world. We know that it must be abolished, and it has to start with each and every one of us. And I speak my word on behalf of all of those in the congregation who are of like mind, saying that we are the beginning. We are the future, because the future cannot remain the same as the present. It is impossible to do so. And as we shape our new present, we shape it with love, compassion, with understanding, with curiosity about all cultures, all people, about everything that is important, because we are one. We are one. And the smallest deed is worshiped in heaven as being the most important thing. It's not what religion you follow. It's not whether or not you have money and you give some money to the poor. It's the thought and the intent behind the deed. Those are the important things of life, because we are one. We are our brother's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. How great we are. And I give thanks for that greatness. I give thanks for that thoughtfulness. I give thanks for that great, wonderful love that we are born into this world expressing and having at our fingertips. And I am grateful for those who are learning as they get older that removing that from the equation completely destroys the equation. And that equation is so important. I am thankful. I am joyous. I release this into the universe, into God's law, into God's word, into God's eyes, into God's heart. And I say, and so it is.
One people, living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all
And now, in sheer gratitude and sheer love, I welcome to the dais, our fearless leader, and our spiritual mother, Reverend Angelica.
Wow, that light is brighter than it was before. Whew. Maybe it's because I've had my eyes closed for a few minutes. So good morning, everyone. I want to say happy holiday. I'm not going to say happy Memorial Day because, you know, Memorial Day is about honoring all the men and women in the armed forces that died for our freedoms. And that doesn't seem like a really happy thing. I was looking at this idea of what did these people die for? And I came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things, and they're actually in the Constitution. So I thought maybe we should remind ourselves of these things. The first one is the freedom of speech. You know, it's interesting that right now in various parts of our country, the freedom of speech is being curtailed. The freedom of speech, whether it's actually spoken word or written in a book, are being curtailed. And yet this is one of our rights that these 7,500 service people gave their lives for since the Civil War. The second one is the freedom of religion. We have the freedom to practice any religion that we choose. Some seem to try to speak louder than others, but it's actually, you know, like when you go to India, for instance, everybody honors one religion. You go to various other countries in our world, everybody honors one religion. Our country honors all religions. That's one of the reasons why I like our particular teaching as well, is because we do honor all religions. And this freedom is protected by the First Amendment, just like the first one, the freedom of speech. The freedom of assembly. We have the freedom of assembly, the freedom to assemble to protest peacefully, to petition the government for things, etc. This too is covered by the First Amendment. The freedom of the press. All Americans are free to publish their opinions and to report on the news without the fear of government censorship. It's interesting. I mean, when I think about other countries that tell their news people what they can put on the news or what can or cannot be put on the news, it's sort of like, wait a minute. You know, everything that happens is important. And yet sometimes I feel like too much time is given to one thing than another, etc. And it makes me feel like instead of just reporting the news, it's all about what are the ratings. And in fact, has anybody been watching Succession on HBO? Well, it's a very interesting program, and one of the companies that this very wealthy family owns is a television station, or a group of television stations called ATN. And they, in almost the last episode, they're fighting for do they call, it's an election night, you know, everybody's reporting who's won this place and that place and the other, and it happens to be a presidential election as well, and there was a fire set in one of the candidates or electoral voting places, and lots of ballots got destroyed, and this TV station, this family, is debating whether they should call it for this one person or not, you know, without having a revote. And it was all about ratings. They didn't want to have one of the other TV stations declare blah, 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 all that stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, does this stuff actually go on? And I think, sometimes I'm pretty naive. But I like the world I live in, So, freedom of the press is another one, also protected by the First Amendment. Freedom of movement. We are free to travel within the United States and leave the country whenever we want. I didn't have to go to the government a month ago and say, could I go to Scotland, please? Right? You just make sure you have your passport and your tickets and you go. Well, there are countries in our world that you can't go unless you have permission from the government. And that, I forgot all about that. That just seems weird to me. In fact, all of these freedoms in some countries are not allowed. The last one I have is the freedom of property. Americans are free to own property and to use it as they see fit. In a lot of places, well, not a lot of places, but in various places around the world, your business is not your business. It's owned by the government, but you run it. And you have to follow all the rules, etc. And granted, we have a lot of rules for our businesses as well. One of the things that seems to be prevalent in all countries, however, that I noticed, is that everybody tries to evade taxes, to do whatever they can do to evade taxes. So we have the freedom of speech, religion, assembly, the press, movement, and property. We live in an amazing country, an absolutely amazing country. A country that seems to be going through its own growth throes, new levels of consciousness, I think, are coming about, but the old wants to stay alive, and so it's fighting. And we have to pay attention to what we're thinking predominantly. Are we allowing ourselves, like I have, to get mesmerized by the news and start thinking, how could they be doing that? That's my main thing. How could they be doing that? How could they be banning books? I saw a piece on, I don't remember what it was that I was looking at, but this librarian, an ex-librarian now, was showing a box of books that had been banned. And it was one of those huge packing kind of boxes, a big box. And it had children's books in it and adult books in it and everything. Not one of them looked like it would have anything bad in it. But then the camera panned out, and it wasn't just that one box. It was 7 of those boxes. And I thought, there's nothing left in that library. And why would they do that? When we're protected, when we have freedom of speech. We're in a really amazing time right now. And one of the ways that we can really honor the men and women that gave their lives for our freedoms is by doing what we can to promote them. And the thing that we don't want to do, which I keep having to tell myself, is falling under the hypnosis of what's being said out there. And when I look at what's being said out there, it reminds me that in the science of mind, it all starts with us as individuals. It starts with our consciousness. So I have to keep asking myself, where is it in my consciousness that I'm allowing this kind of stuff to happen? Where am I banning stuff in my life? Where am I refusing to speak or thinking that I can't speak? Where am I not honoring the freedoms that were given to us at the beginning of our country as this magnificent vision of what our country could be? And for me, it's up to each one of us to pay attention to what we're thinking and feeling all the time. I was going through some old papers the other day. I think paper breeds at my house. No sooner do I clean off my dining room table, which is where my laptop is, and I do a lot of work. No sooner I'm just like, wow, I can see the table. This is a wonderful thing. And a few days later, it's, where did the table go? You know, I'm sure it breeds. But I found this, something that I wrote for Memorial Day in the early 2000s. Today, I join my sisters and brothers in the United States as they pause to remember. I remember good friends coming back from Vietnam as different people. I remember missing legs and arms and wounds so deep you couldn't see them. I remember men hiding in the bush on the Big Island. Years later, a terrain like the place they had been to war, living as if the war was still going on. I used to think the young men and women who signed up for the military were out of their minds. Why would anyone go intentionally into a situation where they would get up in the morning and not know if they would see another one? Now, though I still believe in the futility of war, I honor their courage to fight for what they believe in. I honor their right to do what they need to do with their lives. And I honor the mothers and fathers of these children. How hard it must be to not know, and how proud they must be that their sons and daughters are serving their country. Could I have that kind of courage? I remember, and I am grateful for all who have fought for the freedom that I enjoy. I wonder what I'm going to be writing a few years from now. I know that I'm not in the military, but I am definitely a spiritual warrior. And I'm going to do everything in my realm of possibilities to make sure that I'm thinking in a higher consciousness than I have been before. I'm not going to do the things where I get angry at those people out there, but I'm going to make sure that if I can do something, I will. Because we don't want to lose the freedoms that we've fought so hard for. Now, because it's Memorial Day, I thought that I would give us a chance to acknowledge the people in our lives, if there is one, who gave their life for our country. Now, in my life, though I said I remember good friends coming back from Vietnam, I don't remember anybody not coming back in my particular circle of friends or family. Does anyone? From any war? So, Edward, who would you acknowledge this morning then? You're nodding your head.
Good. Well, actually, two members of the band that I was with in New Orleans for most of my high school years. They went to Vietnam and served the country.
So 2 members of your band. Anyone else? It doesn't have to be the Vietnam War. Yes, Anne.
Aunt who was in World War II was killed. She was a nurse.
Pardon me?
She was a nurse.
A nurse.
An aunt, her aunt in World War II.
Okay, thank you, Claudia. An aunt who was a nurse. And Anne?
My brother was in the Vietnam War, and although he came back, he didn't come back because he committed suicide later.
Your brother in the Vietnam War who came back but didn't come back. That's one of the things I mentioned here as well. Anyone else? Yes, Kathy.
Went to Vietnam and didn't make it back.
You have a friend in Vietnam that didn't come back.
And I would like to also say my oldest brother went to Vietnam and bombed the North Vietnamese, and I disowned him for a while. I just couldn't believe what he did, but he's never fully come back.
Another friend that came back but didn't fully come back. All of us have been touched by war in some way, whether we can think of a family member or a friend or not. I mean, our country started in war. There's a war that goes on inside of us all the time. Maybe that one part of that war is, I don't deserve it, or I'm unlovable. But what I know is, as we honor the people in our lives that did not come back fully, that we're also honoring those 7,500 people that I read about this morning that didn't come back. And we're honoring them because they had the courage to go and fight for our freedom. And it seems, as I said already, that we're still in a battle for a fight for our freedom, but it's a different kind of a battle. Now, I know I've said this for a few years. Things always get worse before they get better. That's what it seems to be. I know that you've probably had an experience in your life where things got really terrible, and then all of a sudden they weren't anymore. Now I'm ready for this period of time where things get worse before they get better to be over. Aren't you? So our part then is to constantly pray for peace and know peace in our country and in the world. Our part is to realize where we're not at peace in our own self and to do the work necessary to heal that. And you know, sometimes that work takes a long time. I was speaking with somebody earlier this week whose partner died quite a long time ago, and yet they're still angry about it. So there's things that no matter what we're learning or how we're living our lives, sometimes there's things that we've stuffed away so that we don't have to experience the pain of them anymore. But I'll tell you something. In my experience of going through forgiveness, which is what I'm talking about, is we're afraid of the pain, so we stuff it away. And yet that pain is not going to be as bad now as it was then. Now it's just a memory of pain. But yet we still have to move through it in order to heal it. We have to reveal it in order to heal it. So I'm inviting you all to do the work that's necessary to do, to really go inside and see where is it that I'm contributing to war. I know that each one of us is moving into this higher consciousness realm along with the whole universe. And it's a good thing, or a really good thing. So let's have our affirmation. Oh, wait, I got it right here. Let's say this together and then we'll treat. I choose to be peaceful today and my surroundings respond. I choose to be loving today and the light spreads. I choose to be happy today and I feel satisfied. This is the joy of life expressed and I am grateful. And I thank Claudia for doing the affirmations this month. So this is what I know is true. That in truth, all there is the one life. That life is God's life, and that life is the life that we're living right now. God is everywhere present. There is no spot where God is not. So I know for each one of us that as we open our minds and our hearts and do the work necessary that is to do, we have a greater experience of this one life, this life of the divine. And what we know is that this life is love and law. Love points the way, as Dr. Holmes says, and law makes the way possible. So I know that the love of our country moves us forward into doing whatever work in consciousness we need to do. And I see us all now, our whole country. I choose to see it as peaceful and prosperous and healthy. I choose to see it as being one of the most creative places to live on earth. And regardless of whether it looks like that right now, I just let that go. And I open myself up to a new vision, a vision that supports the freedoms that we already have, a vision that supports us as individuals and as a whole. I know now, as the Dalai Lama once said, compassion is our religion. And so we open our hearts, we open our minds, and we let ourselves really contemplate freedom. And again, on this day, Memorial Day, we honor all those people who've given their lives for these freedoms. And we honor them by supporting those freedoms as much as we can. And how grateful I am for all of us for this teaching and for this conscious awareness that there is only the divine energy that we call God, fully present here and everywhere, in everything. And we align ourselves with that. Though we already are that, but now we consciously align ourselves with it, knowing that there is a higher truth that we are living. And we're so grateful for our freedoms. We're so grateful for living in a place where we can honor all of it And I release these words into the law of mind, knowing that they are already so. And so it is. And this morning we get to have the elegantly dressed Edward Waples come up and provide some special music for us. So let's give him a hand. Thank you very much, Edward.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, that's yours. I was wondering,
Oh, no,
is it going to tape off?
yeah, that's, yeah. Well, I can't take any credit for my attire. That's always my wife. She's an artist, and she likes to use me as her easel. And I am thoroughly grateful for that. I always tell her that I'm always right and she's always wrong, but the truth is I know better. You know, it's just the opposite.
You're both right.
She's more right. I wrote, you know, like last year around Christmas, my wife told me that I should probably do some of my own material. I never do. You know, I always do covers. And again, I guess she was kind of right. So I wrote a song for the center for Christmas, and it's called My Prayer for Peace, which is in keeping, coincidentally, with, I guess, what we're talking about today. And I really didn't think about it like that, but it worked. Anyway, what I would like you to do, this is my arrangement. Hopefully I won't overpower it with my horn. I tried not to do that. What I'd like you to do, though, if in my mind when I composed this song and I wrote it and I penned it and recorded it and everything, I was picturing everybody in the world linking hands or linking arms. And as I was picturing that, I saw a lot of those of us who are gone, a lot of our loved ones, you know. And I would like you, if you can, close your eyes, picture someone that you love and who's on the other side. And those that are even here still, picture them holding hands, spreading around this country, linking hands with pilgrims, with the Native Americans here, with the Asians, with the Russians, with the Ukrainians, with everyone. Just everyone as one, because peace has to start somewhere, and it starts with each and every one of us. Every idea that ever happened in this world started somewhere. Someone had to have that idea, and that idea generated throughout the world. So we are going to have the idea of love, and we're going to picture that, and we're going to pray for peace, which is what the song is called, if I can do it. I always write things that are hard for me to play. Yeah, it, for some reason, does not want to play. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, this is taking me a little longer than... Yeah, this is taking me a lot longer than what I had intended. Not good.
Let's pray for technology.
Why is it doing this? Oh, crap. Okay, I'm just about there. Oh, I lost the connection is what happened. Anyway,
Just play it.
Yeah, that's kind of, I guess, what's going to happen. Looks like that might be what's going to happen here. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Well, anyway, without the music, this is called My Prayer for Peace. I guess so. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, we just have such a talented community here. I just love it when everyone plays. All right. Yeah, it didn't want to go and then it went crazy. All right, so now we are up to the time where we get to share our gifts in the form of financial abundance and offering back to this community, knowing that as we open up and give, we naturally create space to receive more of that which we are looking for in our lives. And so I invite you to take your financial gift to your heart whether that is $1 or a quarter or a check or an Ernie buck, or perhaps you are an online giver and you would like to just bring an affirmation or a principle of truth that you are holding for this community and from our world. And just hold that to your heart as we repeat this offering together. I gratefully give from the fullness of my abundance, knowing my gift blesses this center, all in it and beyond, and so it is. And so we just bless these gifts. We bless every dollar and every prayer that has been put into this offering this day, knowing that it is pressed down and overflowing, that the energy and the principle of the divine is in action right here and right now, that these gifts go out to bless this center, this community, and this world. And for this and so much more, we are so grateful, and so it is. All right, and now we have an opportunity for someone to come up to read the community statement of inclusion. Who feels called to do that today? Lori, come on up.
There's something I just want to say first. You know, I was a past president of Toastmasters and a past area governor of Toastmasters, and I just want to say to everybody who protects the podium, thank you so much. I'm so proud for our community statement of inclusion. We, the Eureka Center for Spiritual Living, are a community that celebrates diversity, fosters inclusion, champions inner work, and creates space for brave, vulnerable conversations. We are a community that honors the unique emanation of God that each person embodies and advocates with people for human rights and dignity for all. We are a community that blesses each other, sees sacredness in all life, remains learners and listeners so that we may grow together, and understands that oneness is not sameness. And together, we know our beloved community is revealed more fully when we love each other well.
Thank you. Beautiful. All right. Before we stand to sing our community song, we have just one more request from Reverend Angelica. As we're getting prepared for the Twice Nice sale, we need to clear this room out. So if you would be willing to pick up your chair and stack it along the back wall, that would be a huge help for everyone. And now we will go ahead and stand to sing our community song, which is I Love Myself the Way I Am.